Yes, thanks, Neil. It was two early goals for Wicks in the first quarter, and Cooper knocked scoring into the breeze in that quarter, the double blues. And for the Eagles, Passador with a 3-goal blast in that second quarter really gained the ascendancy for the Eagles. Knights with 2, Treeby, King and Sikalela all with 1 each. Yeah, they're not just not going as well. Obviously, 36 inside 50s to 19. They really have dominated the play. And interestingly, just the stats, 168 possessions, and we've only got 128 for Sturt. Look, Sturt generally have a much higher possession rate. Their plan B game plan of actually kick handball hasn't really worked very well for them today.
No, a bit unfortunate for them. They've made mistakes. You expect that in the wet, and they have tried to amend things, but it's been tougher and tougher. Been tough for one player for the Eagles at the moment. That's Dale Ellis, and he's with Mark Soderstrom at the moment on the sidelines.
Well, thanks, Neil. Dale, you did the ankle a few weeks ago against Norwood. How's it coming along, and when can we see you back on the park?
Basically, yeah, I did it about a month ago now, and got 2 weeks to go, so maybe even 1. So just training hard at the moment so I can get myself back on the field.
The rehabilitation process would be pretty arduous. How's it been?
Yeah, it has been. It's been quite hard. 2 sessions a day, basically 8 o'clock, 6 days a week. So, you know, it's been flat out, but the things you got to do to get back on the field.
And Dale, Port Adelaide listed, of course, so obviously you're doing all that rehab at the AFL level, if you like, but how difficult's the transition coming into the Eagles every week, having mostly trained at Port Adelaide?
Well, basically I try to get out to the Eagles, you know, as much as I can, really. So, you know, my face is always in the door, but like I said, I'm out at power every single day of the week, and, you know, coming back in, I suppose it takes a bit of, I don't know, pressure off the other guys, you know, just coming into the team and taking a spot. So, I don't know, it's not too bad for myself being there for a year before I got onto the list, so I don't know, it could be a bit harder for someone else. Yeah,
I guess so. I guess for you now it's just a frustration that you can't push forward and maybe try and make the list by actually getting on the ground.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a pain, yeah. Basically been injured quite a bit since we moved to South Australia, so, you know, this second half of the year is going to really, I've got to step it up, so, you know, I can get on the list next year, that's for sure.
And Dale, marking a key feature of your game, is there another aspect of your game you're really working on down there at the power?
Basically my speed. I've got pretty good endurance, so if I can work on my speed and agility, you know, things could come to that. You know, just brings a bit more to the table, and you know, hopefully make me a better footballer.
Well, all the best of luck, I guess, in the comeback. I guess you're a couple of weeks away. Potentially next week you'll be playing. Is that the story?
Well, I'm hoping for next week. I'll see what the docs say anyways.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Dale Ellis there on the sidelines. And I'll tell you, it's pretty cold here at the Unley Oval. I can tell you also matches around Adelaide, Port Adelaide and Glenelg. And it's Port Adelaide by 14 points over Glenelg. So a very close one there. 7-7-49 plays 5-5-35. West Adelaide and Norwood. Oh, Westies, their woes continue, don't they? 7-3-45 Norwood to Westies. 1-5-11. So in half a game, just 1 goal. And down at Noarlunga, Central District. Well, are they back in form? 7-10-52 South Adelaide. 1-3-9. South has never won 4 in a row down at Noarlunga, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen either this afternoon. Of course, they've won their past 3 at their home ground. Never won 4 in a row. Don't think they're going to do it.
Double Blues have got a lot to answer for awakening the sleeping giant last week, I think.
You think so? Just a quick reminder, the reason we're showing you this, the umpires have flagged off on 8-6-54 for the Eagles. Our score had it at 8-7. Never mind, it's not that close, put it that way. Here's Michael Maney with the second half.
And what a big second half it could be for the Double Blues. Can they get back into the game? Scoreless second term out of the centre. Whiteman tries to get it away. Wigley has got a handball back looking for Sikalela. Left it for Westbrook to Stokes. Stokes got it away to Robert Fiacci. Tackled brilliantly by Beveridge. Crowd wanted ball. Westbrook in hard. So too Nelson. Boxed out by Beveridge to Sheedy. One for the foot runners here. Peter Fiacci, Weatherall closing in on him. The man with 200 games in the SANFL, still got a bit of pace. They take the ball to ground. The umpire will come in and ball it up. How have they structured up Andrew Rogers? I'll give you another couple of minutes to have a look and see what's happened.
Michael,
go Mark.
I'll just let you know, Simon Feast and Chris Oliver both starting on the bench, so Sturt a little shorter across half forward, Cole Reevy and also Weatherall there.
It's a lovely word, Cole Reevy, isn't it? Lovely name. Knights got it away to Treby. Treby with that stylish left foot looking for Inkster. Punching away and could have been marking was Beveridge. Wicks tackled, kicked 2 goals in the first term. Wicks, Rugolo got it away to Knights. Knights has kicked a couple. He sprays this one away for a behind. An early chance to Chris Knights. That's the area of his game that is letting him down at the moment. He's getting the ball. He's a magnet, but that kicking.
Can certainly find the footy and has really got a good turn of pace. Just that finishing to just fix up. Look, obviously he'll work on that with the Crows. He'll get better. Certainly made an impact this year. Don't be surprised if you see him later in the year perhaps have an AFL game.
Ball back in, released Bowen. Oh, went for the hand pass when he was clear to kick in the wet conditions. You wonder about that. Socket forward. Rebounded off Floriani's legs. Now an opportunity for him off the left foot. Sikalella in space, turns around. Whiteman went away from him. Sikalella went long. The punch forward by Smith. Off the ground from Inkster. Close to goal.
It's freakish.
Look, the important kick there was to Justin Sigalella to play on quickly and get it to the goal front. So a one-on-one contest. You can see there's the result of the kick. Inkster just able to get his foot there before Adam Thompson slides in. There's the Chris Knights miss earlier. You can see he's upset with himself. Just needed to finish that off. But look, they've been able to scrounge that goal forward. The Double Blues seem to come out with a bit more intensity. This will certainly take some wind out of their sails.
First goal to Tim Inkster, goal number 23 for the season, 23-11. Bowen knocked it down, Sheedy, Double Blues, trail by 42 in these conditions. What a long road back they have. Whiteman, who'll never give it away. Ball was touched off the boot, Hall taken out of the contest, and off the ball a free kick will go against Brant Chambers, who is clearly frustrated that he's been carved up this afternoon by Stephen Hall, giving away that free kick. How have you seen that contest? It's just been all Stephen Hall, hasn't it?
Oh, it certainly has. But look, lack of opportunities for Brant Chambers. And, you know, if he's had the same sort of delivery and the same opportunities that Mark Passador's had, he certainly would have had a big influence on the game.
Treby looks for Mackenzie on the wing. Wiggly overran it. In goes Stokes. Barges his way through. Terrific play. Sikalella lost it. In goes Bratton, who hasn't seen much game time. And Cooper takes the ball to ground. Umpire Doddridge will come in and ball it up right on the wing near the interchange. Bench. Paul Lindsay in the foreground there, number 19. Ben Nelson backing away near the umpire. Both ruckmen got a piece of it. Sikalella can't get through. Nelson's got him. They want to go on with it. As Luke Powell helps his skipper up. Very cold and windy at Unley Oval. Big pack of players around this football. Bowen tries to barge through. Thompson, good enough to get it to Nelson. He lost it in transition. It spills to Powell. Not a good handball by Powell. Rugolo somehow foxed it out. Robert Fiacci. And Wiggly takes it to the line. It's pretty willing. The Double Blues have stepped up the gas, but they can't get a clear break on the Eagles.
Just get the feeling Brenton Phillips has got to go back to his tried and trusted, put his best players in the midfield, get his best forward line together to see what they can create from there.
Another example of the breeze there, just carrying the ball from the ruck contest. And we'll get another ball up centre wing.
Top ball getters in the first half in this game for the Eagles. Justin Sikalella had 22 possessions. Chris Knight 17 and Luke Powell 15. Jade Sheedy and Andrew Beveridge both had 15 for Sturt.
Umpire Doddridge puts the ball in the air. Sheedy slips it out to Nelson. Beveridge on the overlap, wants to come inside, dropped it, play on. Now Sheedy again. Powell's got him. He's not going anywhere. The ball advanced, maybe 10 metres from where the last ball up was.
1 or 2 clean handballs and then a mistake. Just really hurts you, especially in these conditions.
Knights, Treby, umpire called play on. Treby's caught, he dropped it. Umpire said play on still. Ducking the head was Beveridge. Hand pass forward, Sheedy tried to slip one out, then he tried to kick. Nothing worked. Now Westbrook for the Eagles. His kick, Knights. Umpire said it wasn't 15. Play on again. Knights thrown out of there. Umpire still calls play on. Lindsay, Stokes. Puts it up to Passador. Play on still. Finally it comes. Sikalella. Goal coming up. No. Ball smothered by Smith. slips out the hand pass, will get a free kick in the back, and that'll be 25, or will it? Well, gee whiz, the whistle blew before the snap was taken by Watts. Sturt move it from the back through Chaplin and Bowen. It's clear on the far side, running for him, Squire. Goes wider still, out to the centre wing. Chambers hasn't seen much of the ball today. McKenzie been good off half-back, and Knights has been very good in the middle of the play.
Chris Knights, who's booted a couple, kicks it inside 50 in front of Passador. Has got a nudge from Smith. Advantage rule paid, and a goal has been kicked by Vinny Rugolo. Just the advantage rule paid. The Eagles march on. Another unanswered goal to them. That's about 7 in a row they've booted Andrew Rogers. An amazing bit of play, and here it comes.
And there, the opportunist, Vinny Rugolo. We see that just focus on Mark Passador there. Just catch Vinny Rugolo, turning her around the corner again. He's another one of those opportunists, along with Tim Inkster, really have made the Sturt defenders, who haven't given any respect, pay today.
Sturt's last goal, last score, in fact, at the 27-minute mark, which was right on quarter time from Cooper. And they're not looking like scoring at the moment, as the Eagles again just forcing the ball forward. It's at centre-half forward now.
Mark Passador, who is enjoying a good day with his 3 goals up forward. He's on to his 3rd opponent. He's gone through Begley, Chaplin, now Matthew Smith.
Peter Fiacci, kick smothered.
No, easy, guys. Thank you.
Big task for Brenton Phillips now. Sitting there knowing that they've only won 4 games and lost 8 against the Eagles under Brenton Phillips. In fact, his record isn't all that great against the 2 best clubs over the past few years, and that's Centrals and the Eagles. Brenton Phillips' record against Centrals and the Eagles, 6 wins, 17 losses. Against the other 6 clubs, he's got 45 wins and only 9 losses. Fiacci tries to break the tackle. Taken to ground by Squire, still play on. Umpire will call it up again.
The important thing about that record, 6 wins, one of those was the premiership against Central Districts.
Showing your true double blue colours, Mark Soderstrom on the boundary. Free kick will go to Peter Fiacci. Was the first one go to Vinny Rugolo for push.
Thanks. Everyone out.
Vincenzo Rugolo. He's got a fan club and everything. Kicks it inside 50, poorly directed. The mark taken by Jacob Bowen, who just dishes off to Chaplin. He got some space and found Begley at half-back. Begley, not the force he was last week. Really had his hands full last week and stood up to the challenge. Hasn't had as much of it this afternoon.
Just
Kicks
4
it
and 2.
long. Thanks, Ian Mogridge. Mark McKenzie has been terrific back there. Finds Knights. Just racking up the possessions, Chris Knights.
On a non-marking day, he's taken 9 of them. That's his 23rd possession.
It's been outstanding. And the kick this time was okay to Paul Lindsay. And the big man decides to use Sikalella. Sikalella shorts it up and finds Peter Fiacci, who run forward. And Peter Fiacci will go back and shoot for the Eagles' 3rd goal of the term. It's been a total dominance since quarter time.
The double blues just have to be a bit smarter with Justin Sikalella. Every time that Paul Lindsay takes a mark, Justin Sikalella's got the smarts to get around him, get an easy kick. Whoever's on him just needs to corral him up to make sure he can't get there and get that kick. But the Eagles are just dominating at the moment. He would be very disappointed, Brenton Phillips, with this double blues work rate.
Fiacci's kick is just away to the left-hand side. Not a noted sharpshooter, Peter Fiacci. Just missing that one, spreading it across.
Double blues at the moment are very stop-start. You don't see any flow in their row. There's no inside handballs, run, create, kick. All they're simply doing is taking a mark and going back and kicking back down the line. They need to get that other aspect in their game.
McKenzie steps through Fiacci and then Sikalella and drives it long again. Passador the target. It slips over the back. Knights, good stand, got the hand pass away. Inkster, capable of anything from the boundary, squares it up. Sturt can clear it. Eckerman, out the back they go. And now Smith off the left foot. And just gets it over the line, outside 50. They trail by 48 points. It's been a procession since quarter time in favour of the Eagles.
Sturt haven't scored since quarter time. So that's a real damning statistic, not only on their forward line, but also their midfield.
These two sides met in round 12 last season, and between them, they managed just 8 goals. It's a considerably better day in terms of the ground conditions, certainly not in terms of the weather as such. It's been wet and windy. Oliver up for acceptances. Beveridge, been good, but he has made mistakes back there. Scrambles the ball. In went Treby over the back. Now, over his back came Whiteman, and Treby will get up to take the free kick.
That's it. Play on.
McKenzie.
Easy. Yours, Louis, yours.
Westbrook traps it, turns around, can get the distance right up to the goal square. Oh, the Eagles at the front, they have the numbers. Sikalella, snap, goal! 2 for Sikalella. And mark it down now, I think. It's all over Red Rover and has been for some time. It's just a procession, as I said.
Yes, I think the fat lady's well and truly seen him. But look, just a good kick by David Westbrook. Kicks it to the top of the square. Paul Lindsay has been important today. Not only has he done the ruck work, he's certainly conceded well at ground level. And Justin Sikalella, who I believe has been the best player on the ground and the smartest player on the ground in these conditions, gets a well-deserved goal.
Sikalella, 22 kicks and 6 handballs.
And that looks like Beveridge, who's been just about their best player.
Probably about their only player at the moment. I think Jade Sheedy's been okay, but he's actually set a pretty good example at half-back.
Eagles' back line has been outstanding. The dish off goes to Colreevy, who sprays away to the right. So the Double Blues get their first score since quarter time.
Ironical cheers. But look, that was just good movement. They won the ball out of the middle for one of the few times today, and they eventually are not able to finish off with Colreevy. But look, that is better play from the Double Blues.
Ball out of bounds. Again, the heaviest part of the ground. This sort of weather keeps up. Unley Oval will become a bog, not this afternoon, but surely in the weeks to come. Still the umpire calling play on. It's still willing in there, but slowly the fight going out of the Double Blues. Powell with the hand pass, and then a chance to kick. Gone. Umpire will call that, holding the ball. And Bratton with an opportunity to kick a goal, and to say it's badly needed, well, that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
There's just one aspect of Luke Powell that lets him down. He just hasn't got that breakaway pace. As Paul Lindsay sees his ruck to first, close enough for 14 minutes. Does an interchange with O'Hara. But Luke Powell just needs to get that take and break aspect in his game, so he takes off, takes a quick few steps, and then he can steady. Michael Bratton, the good chase. Forward line pressure important for the Double Blues.
Bratton away to the right. Pretty much sums up the Double Blues afternoon. They've had 2 opportunities in the last couple of minutes, and both for the minor score.
And not a smart kick. I mean, kick it to the other side of the side. At least the Breeze has half a chance to bring it back. Misses to that side, and all of a sudden, the lights are on at the Eagles, but I'm not so sure about the Double Blues.
Long kick into the centre of the ground. With a ball that's not that heavy. Nelson to Squire. Around the body. Everyone wants to fly. Rove by Chambers. Now, can Chambers do something different? Yes, he did. He kicked it out of bounds on the full instead of kicking a point.
Unfortunately, that was his first touch of the ball today.
And Mogridge hot on that. Sturt supporter not too happy with the way things are going. Oliver. Powell got it to Knights, who thought about in 2 minds there, Knights. I think he was trying to get it to Wiggly, but just in the end, just found touch, and that's not a bad result.
Just playing a little bit smarter, the Eagles. They only have one competing in the air. Couple safe front and centre, work the ball between them. They really have shown the Double Blues how to play wet with a footy.
Oliver knocks it down. There's the ball magnet, Knights. Stokes couldn't grab it. Begley just wrapped up in the tackle. Ball spills out the back. Chance for Chaplin. Magnificent smother. That was Rugolo, taken by Powell. Powell, the kick on hands and knees. Passador. Work to do for Thompson. Loose handball. Stokes got it to Sikalella. Sikalella shoots at goal. Going for goal number 3. A wry smile from the skipper, who knows he missed an opportunity there.
He certainly does. But just once again, it's just all class from Justin Shigler. He's been the leading stats getter. He's been the smartest player on the ground. Probably not the quickest player around, but he's just worked himself really hard to work to every contest.
Treby, long, high, at the back. Oh, Sikalella, play on call the umpire. Stokes around on the right foot. Snaps pretty good, if you like, behind.
They're sharing the ball around beautifully in the midfield, and just there in the forward line, and there's Sika. You see him go cool along. Probably a bit unlucky not to be paid the mark. Had a fair purchase of it, but at the moment, anything he's turning is turning to goal.
Must have been touched, I reckon, because he sort of looked clearly as if he took a mark. Here's O'Hara, pretty nimble for a big man, to Rugolo. Nelson does the tackle on Stokes, ball out of bounds. 17, about to tick into 17 minutes. A 54-point lead to the ladder leaders, Woodville West Torrens. Remarkable performance by them. 5 goals to zip in that second turn to really set up a commanding lead. A lot of players around the ball. Plenty of double blues numbers on the ground. Andrew Whiteman, who gives you 100% every week. Come back from a skull injury last year, a fractured skull. Watts can't get through. The double blues have him wrapped up, one of which is Oliver. Watts has been okay. He's continued to move around, present.
Very honest, he is at centre-half forward, and continually worked his way to the front at stoppages, and has, you know, got plenty of the stats because of that.
Here's Knights, and that kick is well away. Pretty difficult, swirling breeze down in that pocket. Knights could have done a bit better with it to centre it up to the top of the square. Free kick goes to Smith. Kicks to half-back, O'Hara. Rugolo ran into a brick wall, which was Oliver. And another ball up. 18 minutes gone. Let's have a look at the... Rugolo just got one across the shoulder on the blind side, maybe, of the umpire.
Yeah, I think you've hit it right now, right on the head, just on the blind side of the umpire, and was going to ground, so we've got a problem with that decision.
Talk about playing smarter. There's another example. The Eagles and Wigley just sitting off the pack and waiting for third man up to smash it to him. That's the way it went. Thompson, dangerous kick across goal. Hand came in there from Passador. Westbrook gathers. Back to Passador, under pressure, knows that he's got another one on over the top. It's Treby, his right foot this time. Treby from the boundary, squares it up. Watts, play on, and Rugolo take it to ground. We'll get another ball up.
They have sacrificed really well today, and probably an aspect of the game we haven't really emphasised is their tackling, their harassment, their smothering. So Vinny Regalo with a great smother earlier. They've had a number of good aspects of the game. So Ben Nielsen has been one of the better double blues players today. Just gets a triple sort. Let's have a look at this on the replay. And not too much untowards in that, but something the double blues could well do without.
Well, Nelson, that's smarts on a day like today. You just get that knock on the shin and, oh, yes, feels great. Nelson's behind. And the double blues work it forward. And nicely done by Robert Piacci, just working his man away from the ball. Bratton was the player. And it's just become somewhat of an arm wrestle, or perhaps a lack of interest from the Eagles at the moment in pushing the issue. 76 plays 22. We're just approaching time on in this third quarter. Here's Ben Nelson. Joined his father in being a premiership player at the Double Blues in 2002. Sandy Nelson, multiple premiership player with the Double Blues. And this afternoon, the Double Blues have looked far from premiership material. Cole Reevy, nice mark. Eckerman, inside 50 with the kick coming out. Code on the half volley. In trouble, gone. Holding the ball. No, yes. Gee, I thought the umpire wasn't going to pay it for a moment. But he did in the end. Mackenzie, who's been brilliant off the half-back line. Just the interchange of Ruckman for Sturt there. And Moggy, just run us through Mackenzie's stay again.
Again, okay. For the first time, he's just had 7 kicks this one and 3 handballs.
Mackenzie from half-back in the gloom at Unley Oval. And the ball just worked out. Does Brent Phillips have a game plan to shut things down? There's Chris Oliver taking a spell. Does Brent Phillips have a game plan to shut things down? Because he's mostly all attack, isn't he?
Well, I mean, at the moment, with the scoreline the way it is, you've really got to attack anyway and try to get some respect back in the scoreboard. to shut it down, especially when you're kicking with the breeze, isn't something that he should entertain.
Colreevy was the man. Yep.
Just get the feeling that, you know, look, they just got to get their better players involved with this, and unfortunately, their better players aren't up for it today.
Just agree with you as that wind continues to go, Mark Soderstrom, as it really has blown up, hasn't it?
Oh, it certainly has, and it is very, very dark. And on TV, you probably won't be able to pick it because of the lights that we do have here. But it is very dark, and the red football becoming pretty tough to see. It might be time for the yellow one to come out.
O'Hara boots a soggy red ball to the wing, and Wicks has got it. Paid the mark, Endor free kick. Wicks looks for Colreevy, can't take the mark. Hard ball to be won in there, like a bit of a scrum. Ben Eckerman there, the man who was crunched by Tyson Stengline at AFL level a couple of weeks ago. Coming up, some highlights, Glenelg and West from last week. Glenelg getting over the top of the Bloods, just grinding away to a good win, and Sean Wren has his problems at Richmond, that is for sure, but he's lost about 20 decent players in the last couple of years, and it's been pretty tough on the big fella. Another rolling scrum, and another ball up, 22 gone, and the Eagles really with 8 unanswered goals from quarter time have set up what will be a terrific win. A lot of players around the ball, no one can take clear possession. Just lying, the umpire's going to have to pay a free kick here and break it all up. Neil Cross, have a crack and see if you can get a clearance.
Double Blues do that effectively. Whiteman was one of them. There was a couple who were trying to be third man up, so they were actually third and fourth man up. Here's Cooper. Scrambles the ball forward. Bratton into space. Can straighten. Opts to go around the body, over the shoulder.
Well done, Neil.
And the icebreaker. And they need it today, that's for sure. The icebreaker, the first goal for Sturt since the 27-minute mark of the opening quarter.
Just a few ironical cheers coming from the Sturt faithful. Well, look, they just worked it forward. A third-man jumper up, just worked it their way. And Michael Bratton showing really, really good skills, given the conditions. Turns the ball around the corner on his non-preferred foot. Finishes it off nicely. Sturt just get a welcome goal here. Remember, they picked with the breeze in this quarter. Really haven't used it really well. Once again, that midfield domination of the Eagles has really hurt them.
Haven't done too many things right this afternoon, but they've been under enormous pressure by the Eagles through the midfield. They come forward again. Go, Ian.
Significantly, that kick of Tim Weatherall, which I saw there, was only his second for the day.
Don't see that very often. Hall trying his heart out, taken by Peter Fiarchi. Amazing the improvement in both the Fiarchis. Kicks to the wing. Powell got a hand on it. Rugalo wrapped up by Wicks. Knight's got it to Stokes. They look for Watts, just bounced off his chest. The giveaway to Knights. Touch ball, said the umpire. In front is Passadoy. Want to lay it off to someone. He gives it to Powell. Powell loads it up, hoping for a mark, and he gets one. Matthew Stokes just drifting back. He's sure of the mark. And will go back and kick the fourth goal of the term for the Eagles to re-establish a 54-point lead.
Oh, just really good fluency out of defence. They move the ball quickly. They continue to play in front into the breeze, and they get first look at it.
Matthew Stokes gets on the score sheet for the afternoon. His first goal. Outstanding player, Matthew Stokes. Doesn't miss too many from there. And it's back out to 54, and the Eagles march on.
And once again, Fergus Watts playing in front was able to feed the ball back with a handball. Mark Passador again playing in front was able to feed it back. And eventually, soon as Whiteman had worked his way around, you can see here that Luke Powell, who got the ball forward. But Matty Stokes, as soon as he turned Whiteman around, Whiteman was in trouble. Takes this relatively easy mark, kicks a goal. It's all too easy for the Eagles.
Matthew Stokes, 14 and 6 today. I should mention Chris Knight has had 15 possessions in this quarter alone, 32 for the game.
Chris Knight's burning them up. There's a holding the ball decision going against Colreevy. Play on, call the umpire. The Fiarchis share it, then down to half forward, and being held out of it, Knights, no. Umpire ruled Knights was trying to hold the player out. It's play on in any case, and that didn't advantage Sturt. Here's Powell just belting the ball forward again. And Feast goes back and marks. Ironical cheers there from the Sturt crowd as well. Feast goes wide. Smith, who's struggled in defence this afternoon, been called across. Umpire not happy, still not happy. I don't know in that situation why you wouldn't just say you're around the mark, play on.
Yeah, sometimes the umpires can be pedantic, can't they? But look, that's the rules. Probably like to see that relaxed a little bit.
They go back to go forward, and Code belts it down in the direction of Feast. The mid-air kick from Feast in frustration. Three-quarter time in what had promised to be the match of the day hasn't quite lived up to the billing, and that's because the Eagles have been so good. 12-10-82, Sturt 4-4-28.
Just the trend of the match continued. The Eagles have been able to be tougher, they've been smarter in tight, they've dominated the midfield. It's generally been one handball, one kick, get the ball going forward at all costs. Their forwards have played in front of the Sturt defenders. They've had first look at it for most of the day, and generally they've played smarter footy for Sturt. Look, they've just got to gain something out of this game now. Brenton Phillips has got to throw them around, see if he can find some blokes in the midfield who are going to put their body on the line and get first to the footy, just handball, and as I said, just be tough around the contest. If we look at the goals, Wicks's goal seemed such a long time ago. We saw Bratton with the only goal of that quarter and Cooper with one each for the Eagles. Passador with 3 second quarter goals. Knight Sikalella, who came into his own once again, continued on his great form with 2 each. Stokes, Treby and Inkster all with 1.
Here's Daniel Wicks. His goals came at the 8-minute mark and the 13-minute mark of the opening term, and well, pretty much that's the last yelp they gave, really, Sturt, isn't it? And it's just been an exhibition from the Eagles. They've bumped, they've smothered, they've tackled, they've done all the things they needed to do in the wet, and they've done it much better than the Double Blues.
I can't remember too many times the Double Blues having an easy possession where they've actually had time to actually use it correctly like you would expect they would normally do. But look, around the ground, they've really, the Eagles have exerted a lot of pressure on them. They've smothered, they've done a number of things. You can see Simon Feast. Look, he just probably hasn't had the game time that he would normally expect from him. He's getting in the older stages of his career, and they were going to be important today, the ruckman, and really Paul Lindsay. Not only has he won taps around the ground and shown his strength, but also he's been heavily involved once the ball's hit the ground.
Just amazing in these highlights, the number of Eagles going to the player, and then they still have players outside the pack ready to receive.
Yeah, they certainly have. You can see a number. There's Wicks should have tackled there. There's a number of the pressures, and all these highlights are really showing is the pressure that the Eagles have exerted on Sturt. They haven't had too many easy handballs in tight. They haven't been able to run the footy out of the fence due to the conditions. So really their game plan has really broken down poorly today.
Wonderful attendance in the last round of football, including on the Queen's Birthday holiday on Monday, Glenelg against West Adelaide. Almost 4,000 people at this match between the Tigers and the bottom side Westies. So good signs in terms of the crowd. Wasn't great signs for Westies.
No, it certainly wasn't. They can be competitive for a half, but after the first half, they really did capitulate in the second half. And look, it was almost on the embarrassing side. And eventually, Sean Wren has lost his cool and said, look, I can't put up with this. As an SANFL club, we need to be better at this. We need to improve, and they do need to. But look, they've lost a lot of cattle in the last 2 or 3 years. They've lost Salam Hassan. Their midfield has been depleted. They've had a number of younger players in Bo Waters, Byron Shammer, a number of Jordan Russell that were part of their sides. And up-and-coming juniors been drafted. They just really haven't had the cattle to work with on the ground. So, look, they've just got to go back to the bones, get a team together that's going to be competitive.
And the Tigers just finishing so well down at the Bay. As I said, almost 4,000 people, 13,367 across the entire round attended the SANFL games, and that's the biggest crowd since 1996, biggest total attendance since 1996. One player who was in excellent form, David Mitchell. See him, I think, on the end of this pass from Ben Mules, just taking the ball, and this is kicking into the breeze. Here's a prodigious kick.
Certainly is into the breeze, but once again, he's getting the benefit from their improved midfield. They now have a midfield that can match it in the SANFL. You know, Blackwell and a number of others, Billy Neely, you can see there. They've got a few blokes who can play in the midfield and going to give him some contest down there. If he can move it quickly, get one-on-one contest, he's a very dangerous forward.
So the final score in that match, 17-13, 115. That's the 7th time in 10 games the Bays have kicked 100 plus. against Westies, 8-13, 61. And as I mentioned, Mitchell there, prominent with 4 goals. So does, while all that's been going on, you've been listening to what Brenton Phillips has been saying.
Well, I have. The Eagles continued on their merry way in that third term, and it is a very quiet Sturt huddle. Brenton Phillips taking the opportunity to get something out of this game by moving some players around just to get a look at them. Skipper Ben Nelson's going onto the ball just to add some toughness. Damien Squire to half forward. And Troy Chaplin, who struggled a little bit down back, he's going to centre half forward. So he gets his taste of attacking football. Andrew Beveridge copped a knock in that third term. We did see him come off the ground. He has got a corky in the lower leg, so he won't take any further part in the game.
And so does, just on that, where do the Double Blues go from here? You've said that Nelson's trying to add some strength around the ball. I guess that's where they've really been struggling this afternoon. Where do they go, though? They've really struggled over time with the Eagles.
Well, they certainly have. You mentioned that the Eagles and Central Districts have been their stumbling blocks for Sturt. They are a club we know that use the handball and they reward their runners. And when they get that flow going, they can link their 4, 5 and 6 handballs up and drive the ball along. They do look very dangerous and powerful. Today's conditions just don't allow that. And it's been, well, really a struggle to adapt to those conditions. Where the Eagles, they are a very efficient side, which we spoke of before the game, and they just come to the fore in this type of weather.
Thanks for that, Sodas. Not quite three-quarter time scores from the other grounds. Port by 26 points over the Bays, so disappointment there for the Bays, but it is at Alberton, so you'd expect Port to do pretty well. West Adelaide trailing Norwood by 38 points at Richmond, and Central by 53 over South Adelaide at Noarlunga.
I think Robert Poland would be too happy with that. It was a real test for them today. Certainly just their form leading up to the state game was really great. Just since the state game, they've just gone off the boil a little bit, lost the Port this week, just shaking their confidence. Centrals have done a number on them this afternoon.
Well, there's 1 quarter to go, and I guess if you're an Eagles fan, you'll look forward to it. Here's Michael Maney.
Yes, if you're an Eagles fan, you will. Double Blues fans have stuck around. Final term, round 4, SNFL, 54-point lead to the Eagles. They'll maintain their top of the ladder billing, taken by Sikalala, who looks for Passador. Passador wants to turn it around the corner, but can't. He's got the old reverse torpedo going, Mark Passador, out of bounds on the full. There he is, Mark Passador, 3 second quarter goals. He's kicked 3 goals, 2 by my reckoning, Mark Passador. Smith boots it to half-back, Code in front, who was swung across half-back in the third term. Ball hooked around, Sikalala. What can he do? Shove it away to Knights. He loves him round the corner, Chris Knights. That's everything he might have to do when he's having a deliberate shot for goal. Just run around to the right, to the left-hand side and hook it back as the rain tumbles down. Chris Knights, by my reckoning, has just booted his third.
Just if we can get a look here, here's Westbrook getting it forward. Justin Sigalella has an opportunity. 2 tackles missed here. There's one, Adam Thompson. And there's another one, Ben Nelson. And eventually, it's got to put the pressure on, to lay those tackles over to feed it back to Knights. And Knights, as you said, just turns around the corner beautifully, finished with the goal. Second-tier players for the Eagles. Knights, the Archie brothers, etc., have been exceptional today.
Nelson in the middle.
Top ball getters on the ground at this stage for the Eagles. Justin Sikalala and Chris Knights have both had 33 possessions. Luke Powell 22 and Matthew Stokes 21. For Sturt, Sheedy 20 and Thompson 19.
Well, Sturt kicked its lowest score of the season last week against Central's 10-6-66. I might suggest this week will be another record. Treby struggling, got the ball out of there. Powell, Passador from behind Smith, knocks it down. Nelson labours to the ball, missed it. Now he's dived on it, in trouble, and still in trouble. Umpire lets it go on and mercifully, finally, blows the whistle.
Importantly for Sturt, they had another couple of players that come over the top and actually disguised it well from the umpires. But they just really haven't had any vim and vigour about them today, the Double Blues. They've never really looked to play with intensity, and they've been given a real lesson in wet weather footy.
Sikalala gathers the crumb. Passador signals to the umpire, I'm caught. Umpire says play on. Wigley, just the errant kick coming out of the defensive area. And Wigley first to react, and the Eagles have done that all afternoon. Just been in front at those scrimmages. Wigley's kick was pretty ordinary, really. Opens up the Squire. Haven't seen much of him this afternoon. Oh, dear. Damien Squire just gets the ball out of there. Now Eckerman's got a lot of space to move in. Opts to kick long. Goes for Feast. One-hander. No. Play on. Feast on the ground, though. Well done. Chaplin shuffles forward. First man to the ball. Inkster coming in hard. Still forward it goes. Might be Colreevy. It will be. So Colreevy with his first of the afternoon. The Double Blues, 5th only of the game.
I just moved it with a bit more fluency out of half-back. We saw Ben Eckerman get involved, and then he worked forward again. You can see just involved with the pressure there, and just gets a toe poke forward. Use that little toe poke going forward. Colreevy, just the first to react, gets a nice soccer goal. One of the very few cheap possessions and the cheap goals the Double Blues have got today.
Off the ground, Colreevy. It's been handy. He's kept trying. He's back in it again. Tackle on Inkster. Westbrook can't get past the Nelson tackle. No.
But it's trapped in there by Nelson as well. Got his hands in.
There you go. Full explanation by the umpire.
Good coaching by Brent Phillips. Michael Coe going to centre half back. Look, let's see if he can play in that position. We know he can play it forward and take a mark. Let's see if we can play centre half back and maybe hold down centre half back if we require him in the future.
Has been in there in the past, Michael Coe. Played across there. I think he's just in the days when Brett Howman was struggling with the back and had to go back there, and he is still struggling. He's indefinitely out at the moment, Howman. Sheedy's kick, not 15. Inkster to Powell, to McKenzie, who just in the one hand. That's a bit of arrogance for you. Here's Code, the man we spoke about a moment ago. Just gets the measurements spot on.
Yeah, he certainly did. But look, that's a good matchup now. We'll get a look at Fergus Watts, who's very honest, very competitive against Michael Code. Generally more a clean marking forward. He's going to have to get down and dirty.
Lindsay got it down to look for Knights, who had over 30 possessions this afternoon and who couldn't break into this Eagles lineup. There's Brent Phillips. Certainly plenty of work to do for him in the coming weeks. Here's Knights again, another possession. Passador in front. Just tried to work Smith under the football. Thompson did okay. Smith back on the foot. He lays it off to Begley. Goes back to Smith. Good run from the back by the Double Blues. Next possession so important. Wicks to Bowen. Crashing in was Lindsay. Got it away to Stokes. This is where they've been dangerous. The mark's been taken by Code, who gives it to Begley. Back to Code, so they're under all sorts of pressure. Eagles forward line working pretty hard. Code wanted that boundary line. Wicks got in the way. Westbrook's kick. Umpire said not 15. Taken by Knights. Kicks to a goal square where Passador was standing, but it carried him and went to Smith. Away to Begley, and the Double Blues from the outer side will look to score again in this turn.
Colreevy pokes the kick forward, not the greatest of kicks. Inkster comes in, ball pops out. Now they'll work it. Colreevy came from WA this season, played with Claremont in the WAFL last year. Former rookie with Fremantle. And here is Thompson, or rather Eckerman, down to half forward. A nice mark, well done by Feast.
Sturt's first mark inside 50.
Feast, does he make the most of it? No, takes his time. Sturt outscored in the second half in the past 4 games, including this one, 178 to 90. And leading out, chest mark taken by Cooper. 2 marks in the forward 50 for Sturt this afternoon.
The Eagles have had 9.
Just Simon Feast brings some real competitiveness to the full forward line of the Double Blues. Grant Chambers has been sadly lacking that today. Michael Code unable to get into the game. Simon Feast, you know he's going to be competitive in the air. At least you can kick to a target and get someone front and centre, maybe crumb some goals.
A left foot of Cooper found himself in the reserves this season after being Sturt's best performer in the final series last year. That's not his best kick, away for the minor score.
Yes, many of the midfield who have really haven't come to play. You think, having spent many years in Harndorf, generally fairly wet up in the hills, you would think he would have been suited by today's conditions. And once again, Justin Cicolella, Chris Knight, the list is endless. The Eagles have really dominated on the footy.
Long kick from fullback. Powell. Spotted Treby. Coming in was Westbrook. Spun around and hit the kick, but only as far as Thompson, who thought for a fleeting moment to go to Wicks. Decided to spread it to the outer side to Colreevy, covered in mud. Been one of those sort of days at Unley Oval. Colreevy boots it inside 50. Floriani, been a bit quiet since half-time.
Yours now.
Ball hasn't been up there, I guess. Marked by Sheedy. Colreevy again, another possession. Beautifully read by Inkster. Just floating across half-back. Inkster with a big barrel. Knights couldn't get on the end of it. Should have taken that mark. Comes back with a tackle against Thompson. Somehow got it away. Looking for Begley. Thompson just held by the chin. Double Blues work it out through Sheedy, very close to the line. They'd be happy to see it out. Clum can't keep it in. Boundary throw in. 8.5 gone. 88 plays 35. The man at the back, Ronnie Fuller, would be well satisfied with the afternoon's work by his charges.
Double Blues would have had 8 to 10 possessions in, every single one of them under pressure.
And again, the trend continues. Finally, they get one? No, they don't. Still under pressure, and they put pressure on themselves again with that slick hand passing. Nelson releases to Sheedy. Now he can run and deliver. Not the greatest of deliveries, and in the end, out of bounds on the far side of the ground. Chilly afternoon. That is Michael Atkinson, state politician, as we see there. He's on the phone. Plenty to talk about state politics. Not much to talk about, unless you're an Eagles fan.
Just back from France.
It's a little bit warmer, you'd think, in France. This time of the year. As a matter of fact, I know somebody who's in France at the moment from the South Australian Cricket Association. Jane Elliott's over there at the moment, enjoying France. Going to go and see a test match, Australia versus England. Something to look forward to on ABC Radio in the cold winter months. Sturt now with the ball on the far side of the ground, and again they're under pressure, and Begley can spring at the Bowen. He stands up, gives it to Thompson, who in turn gives it to Squire. On his left leg, goes to centre half forward, and he spots Powell up. Trouble is, Powell plays for the Eagles, and he's got players coming to this side of the ground. One of them, Stokes, he's clever. In the middle, he's got a player running for him, and he goes instead over the head of Wigley, who was running to a very good spot in the ground, I thought. And finally, the Double Blues will get an opportunity to clear from the back, and again, indecision has just ruined their afternoon.
Bowen throws it on the boot. How's that for a mark? Everything going right for the Eagles. Mackenzie, and finishes off with a lovely drilled pass to Peter Piacci. Umpire said you did creep around, so he decides to hit it long. To Passador can't take the mark. Here's Inkster. What can he do? Normally Mercurial. Ball knocked away. Smith goes to ground. Plenty of Eagles hovering around the ball. Whiteman. And the ball up. 11 minutes gone. 88 plays 35.
Thanks, mate.
And the Eagles setting up this game with a 5-goal to zip. Second term. Whiteman to Thompson. Away to Squire, who's been good in patches but hasn't quite been consistent enough, along with his teammates Eckerman. Just jammed it on the boot. Here comes Stephen Hall charging out, full of fitness. That would please the Eagles faithful. Knights, the handball for another possession. Sikalala measures and finds Passador on a full burst. Mark Passador, who's booted 3 goals too, will go back and sum up the situation from 40.
And Stephen Hall, look, a great attack on the footy, but Simon Feast, look, you're into the breeze. You've got to play in front. You can't let your defender lead with the ball. Just some smart players get involved for the Eagles. Justin Sigalella. Knights has been prolific again, able to pinpoint Mark Passador.
Passador's kick just away to the right, and as you can see, hit the post. Been a little inaccurate. I suppose he's been 50-50 today, Mark Passador. 3 goals 3.
Yeah, just needs to learn about the breeze, but also as the ball gets heavier, you need to lift your leg higher so you can get some more difference.
Colreevy, he's battled hard for the Double Blues this afternoon.
14 and 3.
Weatherall drives it long. Well, as long as his little legs can, dare I say, Tim Weatherall. Well suited to being a primary school teacher at Prince Alfred College. Not many kids who are much bigger than him, really. And the Archie has a flying shot for goal, and again, just a miss, only just. You saw the umpire there, just tapping the post.
Dale Simmons copped a knock just in that third term. He went down to have that stitched up during the third quarter breakdown. He's ready to come back onto the ground.
He's been a round or two with Danny Green. Nelson. Just boots to the wing. Nothing going right for the Double Blues. A goal apiece though. Cole Reevy just keeps the ball in front. That's good play. Taken by Lindsay. Opens up the handball. Sold Powell into a bit of strife. Weatherall overran it. Powell back. Boxed it out to Treby. Good work by Treby. His kick has been marked by Sikalella. About 45 metres out directly in front. You get the distance, no problem at all. And the acting skipper has kicked 2 goals, 1 this afternoon. Gavin Colville played the reserves today as the interchange is about to come up. Wigley for Simmons. So Colville will add a bit more to the Eagles running outfit in coming weeks. Sikalella. Long booming kick by Sika is home. It's out to 10 goals now. It's been a massacre at Unley Oval, and this would give you a huge dent playing on your own turf and being belted by, at this stage, at least 10 goals.
Yeah, certainly, especially coming off a loss against the reigning premiers in Central Districts. But once again, a turnover in the midfield. Justin Sigalo, look, a very smart player. You see here just concentrating. Look, his third goal for the day, and he has been the instrumental player on the ground. Had probably the most of it. Just a smart player.
28 kicks and 10 handballs.
Probably Brenton Phillips hasn't had anyone to run with him. Maybe a Whiteman should have run with him, but too late, the horse has bolted.
Too late. Speaking of which, it's almost night here. It's very, very dark at the Unley Oval, and it's been a very bleak day for the Double Blues. Daniel Wicks down behind play from that last marking contest. That from Eckerman was clever in some ways. He got 40 metres down the ground, kept it tight. And not a huge crowd, as you'd expect. Brett O'Hara waiting to take his place on the ground. It must mean it's about the 15-minute mark of the quarter. That's normally when the swap over occurs with Big Lindsay, who comes in on Feast and Cole Reevy. I wonder if he got a hand to that. Squire got a foot to that. Now Cole Reevy, he just waits for the lead. In the end, nobody really came to him. Squared it up, not too bad. Cooper put his head over the ball, got one across the head. Umpire has paid the free kick, and Matthew Cooper, who isn't the most reliable on set shots, will get up and take his kick. He said he spent 5 years in the Hills, a couple of male medals, plenty of best and fairest at the Hahndorf Football Club, that represented the Northern Territory in the under-18s.
And gets his reward for putting his head over the footy there. Unfortunately, it's been few and far between for the Double Blues today. But he just said he put his head over the footy. Joe Pedler, he decided to try to soccer it off the ground, just collected him with his knee. Missed a shot from there earlier in the quarter, needs to go to school.
And he went to school on the previous kick and repeated the same mistake.
Exactly right. I mean, it's a tough kick. You're probably going into whatever breeze that it is. So we've got to look at this free kick again, and that's certainly there. I mean, the umpire has to reward the player that's going to put his head over the footy.
1 goal 3 to Matthew Cooper. Some can't bear to watch that lady there on the left-hand side. Ball punched away. O'Hara immediately into the fray. Cole Reevy shot it out to Clun. Chaplin. Boots inside 50. Trying to take the mark. I think it was Oliver there, taken by Stokes. Foot race. Ball will beat all and sundry, and whoever was sitting in that chair, they've had enough.
That was Sodas, wasn't it?
Well, Sodas will be somewhere near a heater.
Good thing for Brenton Phillips. He's found out that Ben Colreevy can play on the footy. He's been really good in this last quarter, put his body on the line, provided run. Certainly someone else that can run through the midfield for him.
Well, I guess he's got to look at the positives.
Colreevy, 10 possessions this quarter.
Is that a good term? No free kick to Weatherall. Here comes the man of the moment, Sikalella. Best man afield, and a lovely finish to Fergus Watts. Well, it was all unravelling in the second term. just got worse for the Double Blues. Fergus Watts, how can he make 15 metres into the clear? That's just what happens when it all starts to go bad.
I think importantly, Justin Sicolella had time around half forward. A bloke with his skill level. Firstly, Fergus Watts led to the middle. Code went with him, then led back inside to the pocket. Sicolella still able to find him.
And lovely kick, drawing it left to right. Fergus Watts, he's on the scorecard. His first goal of the afternoon. Eagles fans are happy. All his teammates are. It's a lovely kick, and let's just watch the setup by the man of the moment, Justin Sicolella.
And there's that time I was talking about, just too long. You see Codes protecting the centre corridor. Fergus Watts gives him the slip to the pocket. Look, gets reward for his good endeavour today. He's very honest. He plays in front into the breeze, was able to feed his midfielders as they came through. Are very important to the structure of the Eagles.
Feast down to Squire, who's in the middle now for the Double Blues. They've turned to the experience of Squire. It hasn't really helped them. Treby, in the end, ran himself into a bit of trouble. Begley at the back. Under enough pressure, he dropped the ball. And the umpire will finally come in and say, I'll have it. Thank you very much.
Treby's a good contributor today, 17 and 4.
Feast took one high. Put it down to Cooper, but the ball will come back and Feast will take the free kick.
Thanks, guys. Yours, mate.
Now Cooper wants his left foot. That put him in danger, but he got it away to Begley, who hasn't done this often this afternoon. Through centre half forward, he goes with a kick. Eckerman in space should finish. And Ben Eckerman does finish with a point.
Yeah, certainly an aspect of Ben Eckerman's game he needs to improve on is his kicking for goal. And him along with Adam Thompson, I was looking forward to seeing them play today. And unfortunately, look, Adam Thompson's been competitive and certainly has won more of the footy, and he will surprise you with how much he's won. We'll certainly get Ian Mogridge to give us a stat.
Yeah,
Ben Eckerman just needs to carry the footy a bit more and work his way into the game more.
Sorry, Andrew. Adam Thompson, Sturt's most prolific player today. 10 kicks, 16 handballs.
Been pretty hard at it. We've seen a few young fellows in the last couple of weeks. In Dutschke, Knights and Eckerman all need to work on their disposal. Good young players that have a problem just with their foot disposal. But they'll work on that. They're only young. There's plenty of time yet. This man's got no trouble at all. Simmons looks for Treby. That's a good mark. Eyes on the ball. Had Whiteman coming, but Treby goes on with play, but he's got to come back over his mark. Umpire calling time on.
Well, Andrew, I would have thought he completed the mark by falling to the ground exactly where he got up from.
I think you'll find if we can get a replay, he actually played forward of the mark. I think that's why the umpire called it back. But as we get a look at the replay now, we'll have a look at this. There he takes the mark and he rolls forward. So he's forward of the mark and he got up, played on. So I'm with the umpires on that one.
I love the technical.
For a change.
Love that. Oh, you love the umpires. You're thinking they're terrific. You hardly got a vote in the McGarry medal in your career.
Oh, it's Rob.
Smith. Turnover. Powell got it towards Mackenzie. They're just fiddling around at the moment. The Eagles full of confidence. Game's won. Sheedy at half back. Thompson, another possession for him. Drop from the Powell side. Thompson, a couple of bounces, comes unstuck. Free kick will go which way? Goes against Thompson for hovering over the football. Don't know about that one. Tell us about that, Andrew.
I'm no expert on these umpires, but look at that typifies the Double Blues day, doesn't it? I mean, Adam Thompson running towards goal, had it bounce and come back to him. Trying to milk a free kick for too high. Half tackled. Floriani.
50-50 ball,
yeah,
isn't it, really?
Pays the penalty for a poor bounce.
Here's Smith, got it to Feast. His handball too fierce for James Begley and a boundary throw-in. And you wouldn't blame them, they're leaving. And
that'd be interesting tonight, wouldn't it, at the tea table? One Double Blue, one Eagles.
Sorry, did you say there was a tea cosy?
At the table tonight for tea, you know, what they talk about.
Well, there's something interesting you don't see every day. I think it was Rugolo handball to himself then. At the back Code, off the left foot, wide. Eckerman making his way. Fence was in danger for a moment. Eckerman Well, he could have gone to Colreevy. He does now, and Colreevy under pressure was shut down. And, well, they did have a loose man, and Colreevy had called for it. Peter Fianchi had the time to get back and took it away from him. Treby from the side, and Westbrook trapped, and we get a ball up. Frustration showing there for Andrew Whiteman. Just ripping the ball away. Now Feast will come in. Cross purposes there, Feast and Cooper, they both tried to slap the ball.
The damage statistic at the inside 50, 67 to 34. Generally, a club tends to have between 45 and 55. 67 is a real midfield domination.
Especially on a day like today when you would think there'd be a lot of ball in the middle of the ground going nowhere, as it is at the moment. Yes, between the 50s, you would expect the ball would spend a lot of the day, but it's tended to go this way more often than not, as Andrew just said. Knights with the ball, forward he went. And Weatherall just intercepting Watts' handball. Now he's finding it very difficult to pick the ball up. Finally, round to Cooper, who flew at the front strong with Stokes. Reaches for his back as Rugolo goes inside 50. And that really, I don't think, was meant to go to Inkster, but he was happy to accept it nonetheless.
Yeah, so I think any time Vinny gets within 50, it's generally a shot at goal. And he just got pushed off balance there just as he was about to kick.
Thank you. There you are.
And Tim Inkster has been thrown around a bit today, had a frustrating start. Spent some time in the back line, gets a chance to add his name to the goal sheet.
Inside 50 since quarter time. Eagles 56, Sturt 19.
Inkster has one already this afternoon. Will start the ball at the left-hand goal post and swings around. And another goal to the Eagles. And the domination, well, it's complete, really. It doesn't just continue, it's just complete.
And we get a look at the replay here, and there's, look, good just pressure there by Matty Stokes to work his way back, and there's Vinny just getting pushed off as he kicks. Fortuitously finds Tim Inkster in the pocket. And I always talk about, if you're going to miss to the left-hand side here with the breeze bringing it back, you always give it a chance to come back with the breeze, and lucky enough for Tim Inkster it did. If he misses to the other side, the breeze, there's no chance to bring it back. So look, the Eagles go about their merry way.
Stokes has a spell down there, Mark.
Yeah, just coming off, a little bit cold and tired, and Tom Wigley's had to come up and stretch his legs and finish off the game up before long.
18 and 9 for Stokes.
Good day out for Matthew Stokes. Powell also been terrific. He's got a few mates. Kicks looking for Wigley, thumped away by Weatherall. Interesting stat, Sturt average 139 handballs a game. So far, 110. The Eagles only average 99. They're up to 123. So just been one of those sort of days where the normal game plan goes out the window. The Eagles have a total domination in this game. Led by 71 points. Rugolo ends up with Mackenzie. Wigley got it to Knights, who's just gone out of it a bit, but he's done his job. Looks for Watts, and Watts takes the mark. Strong mark in front of Code. And Fergus Watts, a very consistent performer this afternoon for the Eagles, will go back and shoot for his second. There's Matthew Stokes having a spell. A bit of a joke with Mark Passador. All things rolling along beautifully for the Eagles.
Chris Knights might have fallen out of it a bit, Michael. He's had 40 possessions now, 27 kicks and 13 handballs.
Hasn't fallen far, though, Moggy,
no.
As Watts steers that through for another one. Another nail in the double blues. Coffin. Fergus has got two straight. And it's out for 77 points. On a day like today, that's an amazing performance.
Yes, it certainly is. The Eagles, once again, have led Sturt to the footy nearly on every occasion today. And that's just a clever kick by Chris Knights. Just put it to the advantage side of Fergus Watts. He was able to hold his ground off, just get a hand on it. Luckily enough, gets his second grab, kicks it back. Once again, 2 last quarter goals. Gets reward for being a very good player for the Eagles today.
Nelson tried hard to skipper for the double blues this afternoon. They've been overrun. And then some. High ball. Mackenzie been good off half-back. Good move by Ronnie Fuller. And finally, it's all over. The ball in the hands of the veteran Stephen Hall. And the double blues have been absolutely and completely thrashed this afternoon in wet conditions. The Eagles by 77 points, 17-12, 114. Sturt, 5-7, 37.
Yes, at the start of the day, I thought the conditions would suit the Eagles, and so it seemed. And so at the end of the day, it really does appear that way. They certainly played the conditions a lot better. They structured up better. They played in front into the breeze, which was important. They got first look at it. And the Double Blues really go on a learning curve today and how to play wet weather footy. And unfortunately for the Double Blues, we're just entering winter. So they're going to cop some more wintry days as the season unfolds. So I really feel as though they're going to struggle, through this period during the season.
And a very cold Mark Soderstrom is talking to, no doubt, a very cold Justin Cicolella.
Well, thanks, Neil. Sika, a game first versus fourth. We thought it was going to be tough. Match of the day, and you're able to blow them away in that second term.
Yeah, we know they're a pretty good run inside. The conditions probably didn't help them too much. So, we kept it in close and just kept hard at the body. So, good day and all.
From a personal point of view, plenty of effective touches, and importantly, 3 goals, a great way.
Yeah, it's good to kick a couple of goals. We had a lot of ball from a lot of our midfielders, so it's a team effort. And, as long as we keep doing our job, then we're going to succeed.
Importantly, you were able to, really adapt to the conditions a lot better than Sturt, and to really dominate that much was quite surprising.
Yeah, it's we do play pretty well in the wet weather. We've got a few bigger bodies around the ball, so it's worked well for us.
Well done, mate. Congratulations on your effort.
Thanks, Evan.
Justin Cicolella, and gee whiz, there'll be some warm Eagles fans leaving. They'll have, warm to the cockles of their heart, but Double Blues, they'll go away and have plenty to think about. Justin Cicolella and his merry band, with Gavin Colville still to come in and top up the side. They've got plenty to look forward to. They're first with 8 wins and 2 losses this season. That's their 8th win in a row over the Double Blues.
And I thought Justin brought up a really good point. They have some real heavy bodies around the ball, and it really, Vinny Regalo, 3B, Cicolella have got some big bodies with some big legs, and they were able to control the packs around the ground, serve them very well in today's game.
That's not sunlight that's forcing those shadows, by the way. It is closing in on darkness here, and what lights they do have at the Unley Oval are on. At the moment, it was level at quarter time between the 27-minute mark of the first quarter and the 23rd minute mark of the third quarter. The Eagles added 8 goals, 8 to 2 points, and that told the story of the match.
It's a very damning statistic as we could look at the goal kickers. It seems a long time ago since Wicks kicked those 2 goals in the first quarter. Cole Review, I thought, was very good, especially in the last quarter. Bratton and Cooper with 1 each. Passador with 3 second quarter goals. Knights, who was prolific, along with Cicolella, both with 3. Inkster and Watts with 2 each, and Stokes with a single.
In round 3, it was the Eagles by 40 points. This afternoon, the margin 77.
Yeah, so just really can't mix it with the top echelon. You look at those inside 50, 69, as I said in the call. It is a lot. That's a real midfield domination to 35. And just interesting, 331 to 263.
Happy Eagles outfit. Justin Cicolella there, acting captain. Gavin Colville, as we said, played in the reserves today, will come back next week. But the only box they didn't tick this afternoon, they averaged 31 scoring shots, which is a league best. They averaged 31 scoring shots a game. They only had 29 today.
Considering the conditions, I think you can get them away with that. But
give them points for that.
They didn't really have a passenger today, and that was the important thing. Sturt had a couple of good players with a number of players down. The Eagles, everyone contributed, and it makes a big difference on the scoreboard.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And the Double Blues have, they have plenty to think about, don't they?
They certainly did. The game plan didn't work today, did it, really? They just couldn't get it together. So the Eagles really showed them how to play wet weather footy.
And Ron Fuller would be a very happy man. He's with Sodas.
Well, he certainly is. I'm just going to move Ronnie over. The boys do need to stretch, so follow us this way, and we'll move through the rooms here. The boys are very happy. Now, Ronnie, very comprehensive victory. It was probably one of the most impressive performances we've seen from the Eagles this year.
It was good, Mark. Second half against Glenelg I thought was excellent, and we unfortunately had a week off. We pulled our heels for a week, but they picked up the slack from where we left off. They were great.
Great discipline too, because it looked like Sturt all day couldn't get an easy possession during any of the 4 quarters.
Our tackling was excellent. The stats we took for our tackling were as good as they've been all year, and that was a great sign.
One move we noticed early, Mackenzie, who's been fantastic for you in the midfield, you had to bring him back just to try and keep an eye on Code, because Code did do quite well against Centrals. And, well, it started off well, but you did have to sort of rob a position there.
Well, we planned on playing Macca all week in defence because he's so versatile. He's just a great player. He played a bit there last week, and when he first came to us, when he was rookie listed out of the under-18s, 4 years ago, he was a defender in the TAC Cup, so he's a very versatile player.
Ronnie, next week we get to go back in time. You're heading out to Theverton to take on West Adelaide.
Yeah. Oh, very much looking forward to it. We did all our pre-season there. We had a couple of trial games. We were very comfortable there, and I can assure everyone the Oval's in great condition.
Well, we look forward to it for you boys next week, heading back there.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks a lot. Cheers, mate.
Well, as you'd expect, a bit of a smile there. Chris Knights, he was fabulous this afternoon, and the Eagles in general were fabulous. I might just ask Ian Mogridge to, as we're looking through these highlights, just to run through those leading stat gatherers for the Eagles, because they were very impressive, and that man, Chris Knights, probably led the way, I guess.
He did. He had 27 kicks and 13 handballs and took 9 marks on a wet day. Justin Stickler had 29 kicks and 10 handballs. Luke Powell, 14 and 17. Matthew Stokes had 25 possessions and Lee Trevey, 23. And for Sturgis, just say Adam Thompson had 26, or Jay Sheedy actually had 27, but I think Thompson was perhaps more effective.
Well, Daniel Wicks was certainly effective early on, and that was a great goal and really gave Sturt a lift. At that stage, it was 2-1 to 2 goals, and pretty much after that, the Eagles took over, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. Sturt looked good when they started to run the footy. As Wicks made the most of a couple of opportunities as they went forward. And at that stage, we thought, look, here we go. We're in for a really tight game. Generally, the breeze picked up in the second quarter, and the Eagles were able to make the most of it, kicking 5 goals to zip. And from then on, it was just really a possession, and Sturt really dropped away. And that would be a concern for Brenton Phillips. They weren't competitive in the second half. They really, to be a top 3 side and to really challenge for this year's premiership, to fall away the way they did, would be very disenchanting for him.
Mark Soderstrom, you're listening in, and as we watch through these highlights, 198 to 93. Sturt outscored in the second half in the past 4 games.
They have struggled, haven't they? I don't think it's a thing of fitness. That's certainly not the problem. But like we've said, the Double Blues, they do have a fantastic game plan when it works. And unfortunately, at times, it hasn't worked. I don't think it's all doom and gloom for them at the moment. I mean, they do still have a quality field. But what about the Eagles? They do look like they are getting better and better. Of course, that grand final last year was a terrible result for them. The way they're going this year, they are certainly determined to make amends for that.
And quarter by quarter tells the story, no doubt about that. Sturt just struggling to get a score on the board. At the end of the day, 5-7, 37 plays, 17-12, 114, simply not good enough. Excellent, though, from the Eagles.
I think a damning statistic, 6 goals, 8 last week against Central Districts, 5 goals, 7 today. Their midfield aren't working hard enough, not getting enough opportunities to their forwards, and it's their 30-odd inside 50s. Just doesn't cut it in SANFL today.
And you mentioned against the power clubs in many ways, the Eagles and Centrals. That figure now is 6 wins and 18 losses to those 2 clubs since Brenton Phillips took over in 2002.
And I think in Portland, they've probably, in those period, they've probably been the 3rd best club behind those 2 clubs. You know, with Central Districts obviously clearly dominating in front of the Eagles. But I just get the feeling that they just haven't got quite able to step it up. And so I just, you know, they can beat the lower sides, and they game plan works against the lower sides. Unfortunately, when they get put under pressure against the top sides, it falls away.
Speaking of top sides and top games, still in play, but Port Adelaide will beat Glenelg by 41 points at the moment. Norwood, again, the match is still going, but they will beat West Adelaide. They're 30 points the better. And Centrals, well, they just got over South in the end. Obviously, South had the breeze in the final quarter. Centrals winning by just 8 points.
Yeah, certainly some really good games. Look, it's going to really tighten up the premiership table once again.
Quickly looking forward to next week, and we will travel all the way down to Noarlunga for South Adelaide against Glenelg, and that shapes as a very important match for both clubs. Thanks for your company this afternoon. It was the Eagles by 77 points over the Double Blues. Bye for now.
the 29th of October when they meet in Auckland for the final time before the Commonwealth Games. It'll be live on ABC Sport from 5 p.m. Next Saturday, round 9 of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy finds the Swifts taking on the Jaegers at the Wollongong Entertainment Centre. That is our 11 a.m. game. And the Canberra Darters are playing Melbourne Phoenix at the Banyule Net Stadium in McLeod in Melbourne. Check your local guides for the time in your state. A 50-43 win for the Silver Ferns over Australia at the Superdome. On behalf of Anne Sargent, Vicky Wilson and Monica Lam, I'm Steve Rebellion for ABC Sport. Goodbye for now.